Hello, everybody out there in YouTube. We are the Middle-Aged Guys, and once again, we are going to be continuing through our reviews of all the episodes of Young Justice. Let me go ahead and get the intros out of the way. I'm the Reverend.
The Theme here.
And I'm Grey Mouse 1.
This particular video is going to be about Young Justice Season 1, Episode 13. The episode is entitled Alpha Male, and it was first aired out on October 7th, 2011. Like always, episodes are over 6 years old, so there's not going to be any spoiler warnings on this. But we will be covering pretty much just a very short synopsis and 3 general talking points like we do with all of our reviews, what we liked, what we didn't like. And since we've seen all of these particular episodes maybe 3, 4, 5, 12, 15, 50 times by now, the type of details that we've noticed this time around that we know works as a setup or reference for something coming in the future for a future episode or storyline arc. Let me go ahead and get the synopsis out of the way on this one. This particular episode picks up right after the Homefront episode where the Reds and Red Tornado have left the cave. In fact, it opens up with the rest of the Justice League members actually repairing the cave. And during conversation with Batman, Superboy overhears Aqualad saying that he was informed that there was a mole inside the team and that it looks like it was probably Red Tornado because of all the things that are happening. This sends Superboy off the deep end, and he goes completely apeshit. Well, as close to completely apeshit, and he, that pretty much exposes the knowledge to everybody in the team that Aqualad has known about this and that he's been keeping it under wraps, which does exactly what he was fearing would happen. It completely unravels the state of the team as far as what where they had gotten to that point. Batman being Batman, though, he takes control of the situation and he tells everybody, forget all of that. You can deal with that later. I have a job for everybody. I've got a mission for all of you. And he sends the team out to India where they have to go ahead and investigate reports of these really strange animals and a gorilla running around with a machine gun attacking people. When they go ahead and they decide to leave, Captain Marvel joins them on the excursion out on the mission. Once they arrive there, the team pretty much falls to shit and they all go their separate ways. Kid Flash and Robin go one direction. Artemis and Miss Martian go another direction. Superboy jumps off into the forest by himself, which leaves Aqualad pretty much trying to figure things out with Captain Marvel. Long story short, they pretty much discovered that the animals in the area are all being experimented on with the Cobra Venom formula. And since they see that, oh, look, all of the animals are also running around with inhibitor colors, this definitely isn't like some sort of coincidence. Aqualad, after being taught after going through a little bit of a learning moment with Captain Marvel, he takes control of the team, and they actually find the base that's influencing where all of the Cobra Venom-induced animals are coming from. They jump in there to go ahead and save Captain Marvel because he's been abducted, and it turns out that he's been abducted by the Brain with the help of Monsieur Malat, his French hyper-intelligent ape who runs around with a raspberry beret. Yeah. Who's trying to go ahead and extract Captain Marvel's brain while Captain Marvel is still alive and conscious. Long story short, they storm the base, they free the captain, they free all the animals from their control with the inhibitor collars and everything else, and then they fly back to the base. Before they fly back, they come to the point where they finally come to an understanding of why Aqualad didn't just come out and say, hey, everybody, I don't trust any of you guys because you're all traitor, you're all candidates to be traitors or a mole within our midst. I don't know who you are, but I don't trust y'all, so I'm just going to let you know. So they come to terms with that, and they return back to the base, and that's pretty much where the episode ends, with a little tidbit of, Captain Marvel and introducing that, yes, indeed, he's Billy Batson and everything else living in Fawcett City. And that's pretty much where the synopsis finishes up. Let's go ahead and jump into our first talking point, guys. What did you like about this particular episode? Floor is open.
I like that the team kind of fell apart. And it goes to breaking down and building back up to see how the situation was going to be handled. I actually like that, and even though it kind of took place the whole freaking episode, you have to understand. Okay, there was Robin and Kid Flash. That was, a mole. Them two, no. But then the other three, that was not well known, like Miss Martian, who can actually read into everybody's minds. You got Artemis, that was basically just thrown on the team. And then you got Superboy, that was basically rescued by Katniss. So, anything could have happened. But I like the fact that the team was breaking down and then they had to patch things up. They tried to handle it kind of teenage-ish. But that's one of the things that I did like about the episode. Gray Mouse, what about you? What are the things that you liked about it?
I liked the episode because Captain Marvel was included. Some of the Justice League guys were part of the episode, and it gave it depth and meaning. He wasn't just there to be a chaperone. Kind of obvious we know who Captain Marvel is, but it's kind of weird for him to be a chaperone because he's a child himself. I really like that, and I really like how Superboy is collecting his his friends. Wolf. He's just collecting as the shows go on. How many companions does the guy need? It's just great. I love it.
Yeah, on this particular one, I have to say, and only because this is a running thing with our reviews, surprisingly, Kid Flash, Wally West, doesn't end up tripping and falling on his ass in this fucking episode. Seriously, no, he goes around and he does his best Sonic the Hedgehog, tumbling attack through the air, fucking impersonation. But he doesn't end up tripping in the fucking episode.
You see, that's the thing about it. When he's 100% serious...
Yeah,
he doesn't fall on his ass. He was focused this episode.
Yeah. That part was cool, and I just got to throw that one in because for all the times that we sit there, we bring that up. This has got to be recognized. All right. But what I really liked about this particular episode is that, again, just like with Homefront, this is another really big setup episode. All right. There are a lot of things that they're going ahead. They're placing seeds and they're placing like crumbs in the trail that are that they're setting things up, like the whole build-up tension between the team members about, okay, who's the mole, if anybody is the mole, all right? Right now, they're distracted by the disappearance of Red Tornado and what happened with, with the Homefront episode and all of that, but they're still going to come back to that particular issue. It's still going to be something that's hanging over them. So, again, this particular episode, like Homefront, it set up a lot of things, and it was able to go ahead and do that while distracting the viewer instead of just doing like all this shitty exposition, talking about what's coming up, setting it up while distracting the viewer with some really cool action sequences as a result. All right. But that doesn't mean there wasn't anything that we didn't like or that this episode was perfect, because with the number of times that we've seen these particular episodes, we're always able to go ahead and pick up on something sooner or later that kind of bugs us. That takes us to our second talking point, guys. What was something that you noticed that you didn't like, or if you had a choice, you might have changed with this particular episode?
Gray Mouse, you want to go first or me?
Well, with me, it's very simple. I pretty much liked the whole episode. It wasn't much of I really don't have any gripes at all. I can't even be nitpicky on this one. I guess maybe when, I don't know. I thought it was a good episode all through and through. It didn't have that teenage, well, I'm talking about, no, I have nothing bad to say. So go ahead, Theme.
The only problem that I had about this episode is that Captain Marvel got captured way too fucking easily. That's it. That's the only issue that I had.
I don't think it was too easy. He was kind of lured in, but we don't know what that field consists of. It could have nullified his powers. But I could see that. But I didn't think it was too easy though. I mean, I thought that it was because you got to remember that Captain America. It's
Captain Marvel.
Captain America, Jesus Christ, Captain Marvel. Fuck, boy, did I fuck that one up. Captain Marvel's still a kid.
Yeah.
Understood that Captain Marvel's still a kid.
Captain Marvel, man.
But that was the only. Look, it's nitpicky. I know it is, but I was like, damn. For a superhero that's a part of the league, and what? Just power of Zeus, speed of Mercury,
wisdom of Solomon. Yeah,
wisdom of Solomon.
Like that. That was look when I saw him go down, and I'm like, wait a minute, that was way too. It wasn't even a struggle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe it would have been worse if he would have like passed out or something, but he didn't. He was kind of when he was
paralyzed, right?
Correct. Yeah. He was paralyzed, and I think it was probably the technology they used in those collars.
And like I say, and that's what I'm saying. Yes, nitpicky. I know.
But I mean, that's the only thing you can nitpick on. I mean, I thought it was a hit out of the park episode.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, we'll get to that at the end. We always get to that at the end. For me, particularly with this particular one, woo, Lordy, if you've ever been lost, no, not lost, if you've ever been trapped on a long drive with a shitload of teenagers filling the car with you.
No.
The whole bickering back and forth when it came to, all right, when we first landed down and they went off to everything, you're my boyfriend, not my keeper. You're, the whole thing like, we don't think your protection is good for us. The whole, even the raising of the hand thing and walking away and all of that. That, yep. Okay, like I said, given the context with the characters that we're dealing with, I can understand. They're dumb teenagers, okay? It doesn't make it any less annoying for me to fucking experience, okay? That's really my only big nitpick with that. Yes, and the thing with Captain Marvel getting captured, that seemed a little bit too easy. But I do I know a lot of his backstory, especially when it comes to like Tawny the Tiger and everything else. Yep. Even including the way that they went ahead and they rebooted his origin just recently. Yep. That tiger actually has a huge fucking influence on his backstory.
Yeah.
So I kind of understand it to a point. The only upside to him getting captured, though, is that I gotta say that the Brain, he only shows up in like maybe 3 episodes. He only ends up like on screen like 3 episodes. He is like one of my favorite fucking villains now because of actually seeing him. All right,
I like him. I like him a lot.
But before I jump into that tangent too far, let's go ahead and cover our third talking point. What did you notice in this particular episode? Now that we've seen it 2, 3, 4, 12, 50 times now, that serves as a setup or a reference for something that's coming up in the future.
Oh, come on. The mole thing. This is going to linger out. Now that it's common knowledge, now this is just going to be just out in the open, just out there. And at least, okay, the source of the tip was Sportsmaster. You saw who got very objective from the get-go, which was Artemis, because that's her dad. No, you can't trust him. I mean, even Robin was like, I have to know. I mean, he brought it up, and he's like the youngest of the team. But yeah, he's the one that brought it up. The mole thing's gonna linger out. That's one of the things that but I don't want to take all of the time. Gray Mouse, what about you? What did you notice that's gonna take place in other episodes down the line?
Well, the thing with the Brain, that's gonna have future ramifications, and then the animals that Superboy acquiring, those are going to play out as well.
Yep.
I think. Yeah, and they tried to name him. What about Crypto?
That was great. I laughed my ass off on that.
No, because the thing about it is, Wolf even rejected that shit.
What was really funny is that Miss Martian said, "Isn't that taken already?" I was like, wow, that was a nice little nod there.
I mean, and even Superboy was like, pass. And Wolf was like, no.
Yeah. I think with this particular one of the more subtle setups for future storylines, and actually pays off in an episode that's coming up, actually in about 6 episodes from now, is that they took the time right at the very end to go ahead and emphasize again, if you don't know, Captain Marvel is an 8-year-old Billy Batson.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was like a really subtle setup right at the very, very end. Because you sit there, you see Captain Marvel flying into the window of this. It looks like this old school style fucking, brownstone type, flat, or apartment out in Fawcett City and everything. And he's got this old guy who's he's not loud at all. He's talking to him like, make sure that you do this, this, and this. Hey, you forgot something. What are you doing? You got to go to bed, and then it just proves again that, in that big body of Captain Marvel is 8-year-old Billy Batson, and that was probably one of the more subtle setups as far as what's coming forward. Like I said, it pays dividends. There's like a whole episode that's coming up that's just going to revolve around that.
Yep.
All right. I think that pretty much covers, the majority of our talking points. Let's go ahead and wrap this one up then. Like we do at the end of every one of our reviews, on a scale of yay, nay, or meh, what are your thoughts finally on this particular episode, guys? Floor is open.
Just got to give it a yay. I mean, the fact that one word said by 2 people gained control.
Yeah.
Enough. When Batman said it, fuck, he's like one of the only ones in the room that has no powers besides like 2 teenagers, and everybody got quiet. Everybody diverted their attention to him. Everybody was like, okay, now what? You're Bats. Tell us what to do. You even got this super half Kryptonian that could take him down possibly just by power alone if Batman didn't use it. But anyway. This episode deserves a yay because it hit all kinds of talking points with emotions that went on the whole fucking episode. Yeah, it went out of the way as far as the teenage thing, but here I can kind of understand because all the emotions were going on at the moment. So, yeah. Gray Mouse, what about you? Yay, nay, or meh?
Yeah, I would give it a yay for myself. I did like the fact that Miss Martian told Superboy to back off. Yeah, you're my boyfriend. But when we're out on missions, look, you're my teammate. We're teammates. And then I also like like you said, the whole Captain Marvel, had to think there again. Captain Marvel, spinoff that's going to happen later, the payoff rather. And then also, the breaking down and the building back up of the team. And then also I like the fact that, Aqualad actually learned a valuable lesson. People need a leader, and when, and then you have to be in command. If you're going to be a leader, you have to be in command. You can't be wishy-washy or people won't listen to you. I mean, if that's one lesson I took from that episode, is pretty much what that is. And then how they put the Batman, like, look, even the dialogue between Captain Marvel and Aqualad, like, look, Batman is Batman. That's all he had to say. And I really like the story, like I'm kind of like with the Reverend, I really like a nice story, background story. And this one hit, crossed all the I's and dotted all the T's and all that shit. I know I said it backwards.
I know.
Okay. On this particular one, no surprise, it's a year for me. Like I said, there's a magical thing that this particular episode did, just like with Homefront, all right? Homefront was pretty much their take on the movie Terminator, but it set up a lot of shit that's going to go ahead and come in the future. Again, with this particular one, it's almost a take on the, I would say, almost like The Thing, or Invasion of the Body Snatchers. There's a lot of distrust between the team members and things like that, and they're dealing with these, super powered, supersized animals that they've got to go ahead and figure out while they get to a point where they're actually able to survive the situation. It's like I said, it's a nifty little trick that they've done where they've got all of this set up without having to do 15 straight minutes is just fucking exposition. All right. They've got action scenes that are setting up things that are meaningful that are coming in the future.
Yep. And
like I said previously, it also introduced me to the braid where, before we started this particular video, just to go ahead and make sure that I was sharp on it, I rewatched the episode again. And I got to say, yeah, it would have been really nice to see if he had like a pet mouse named Pinky. But that wasn't the case, all right, considering everything's owned by Warner Brothers. But, the fact that the brain is running around, he's just a brain in a fucking robotic body. And not only that, but he's sitting there calmly explaining to Captain Marvel that I have left your ability to speak. So your reactions would be very, very educational while I undergo la procedure. He was like, wait a minute, la procedure? What do you mean? I will remove your brain. I was like, whoa, fuck. Yeah, I absolutely love that guy. And the thing is that as far as the villains go, he only appears in like 3 fucking episodes, really.
It's funny because besides this episode and the others that are in this series, I didn't see the brain ever since Teen Titans.
Mm-hmm.
And fuck, that was, he was big. He was a big part of season 5 of Teen Titans. The fact that we saw him here, just saw the brain here, that livened up my spirits. I was like, finally, we rarely see or hear about the brain.
I really like him because I think it's his French accent that kind of you don't think of a brain having the French accent or anything,
because
it's procedure. I was like,
that was funny because he's like, it's the brain. No, we all see it's a brain, not a brain.
No,
the brain in the flesh, so to speak.
Yeah, like I said, that right there, is definitely brings it up to a yay for me. No surprise, like I said, yays all around on this particular one. But like we always say at the end of all of these reviews, whenever we come to it, what did you out there in YouTube think about this particular episode? If you've watched it, and if you watched our review, what do you think about our reviews? Was there something we missed? Was there something that we didn't touch on? We want to know. You can go ahead and let us know by leaving a comment below. If you think we're worth it, go ahead and mash on that like button. And if you really want to go ahead and stick around and see what we're going to do next, I highly suggest that you hit subscribe and you turn those notifications on so you see whenever we put something out new. With that, all of our thoughts and our review for Season 1, Episode 13 of Young Justice, entitled Alpha Male, ends right here. I'm the Reverend.
The Theme here.
I'm Grey Mouse 1.
Every form of entertainment has the right to exist, even if you don't like it. Credits.